What's up? Good morning, August 14th. King Truth here. Just had to do a video this morning. Been away for a little while. And hopefully this gets shared because I'm sure this thing is going to get shut down. Okay. But there comes a point where and if you look in the description box, it should have all of the links. So I'm not going to go off topic on anything that is not specifically in those links. Okay, what I want to talk about today is, of course, the thing that they don't want you to talk about. They're trying to shut this down, but it's the Corona deal. And here's the thing. Okay, I'm just tired of people lying. I just read an article last night in the National Geographic that said how dangerous this is for children. And so what I want to start off with is just straight debunking that based on reality. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I'm going to add this. Let's go ahead and go to this. This is the chart from the CDC, okay? From the CDC. Hopefully everybody can see this. These are COVID deaths, okay? These are the age groups. Now, I kind of wish they would break the age down groups a little bit down differently than this, only because there's a 15 to 24 group. And so I can't get exactly all the school age years, okay? But here's the deal. Let's go ahead and look from 1 to 4. Obviously, you're not in school yet. Maybe some daycare, but we can even include those if people want to, okay? Before 1, you shouldn't be in any school, okay? But let's just say we'll even include the 1 to 4 years because it's such a minute number, okay? 10. That's how many COVID deaths have occurred from kids 1 to 4 years old in the United States of America, okay? Which has had here's the number down here. Hopefully people can see this. We'll go ahead and try to blow it up here some, okay? 1.6 million cases, okay? 1.6 million cases. And if you include these, that would be 33 deaths. But really, for kids, all elementary school and middle school, okay, will get you all the way to a grand total of 23 deaths, 1.6 million cases. Now, people can say, well, and this is what I always hear. People say things like, well, every life matters. If we can save one child. Well, is that really what you feel? Is that really how it goes? Because let's look at some other numbers. These are pneumonia deaths, okay? Pneumonia deaths. Just this year, over the same exact period of time, you have 88 deaths. You have over 4 times as many, or just under, I guess, 4 times as many. So 380% higher, however you want to term it, people are dying of pneumonia than dying of COVID in your elementary and middle school years, okay? You want to look at how many people have died from the flu? Twice as many. Twice as many people have died from the flu, the regular flu, okay, influenza, than COVID-19. Yet I have not heard one parent over the course of my life saying that we should shut down schools because the flu kills kids. Pneumonia kills kids. Like, when are we going to start? This is data. This is not my opinion. This is not my gut. This is not what I hope to happen. This is not what I think might happen. This is the data. So can we please stop? National Geographic, I wish I had written down your name from last night. The person who was the writer of the article that was talking about children and whether they should go to school, she lied. She said that kids and old people are specifically dying at astonishing rates. I can't remember the exact term that she used, but it was a lie. It was a lie. Here's the deal, right? Here's the chart. This chart is real. This is the CDC that everybody says we have to listen to, have to follow. This is the CDC as of today. Okay, this isn't a long time ago. This is the newest one they have as of today. Okay, so this data goes through the 12th. Now people can go, well, it's the 14th today. It is, but this is the most updated information to this point, okay? So when you look at the most updated point, people 65 years and older, okay, are accountable for, add these together, that would be 70, 110, almost 120 out of 150,000 deaths are people 65 and older. Okay. Now you can say, oh, well, these little kids are going to bring it back and this. And we don't know that. You don't know that either. Okay. So just to initially debunk, thing number one is that there is zero evidence that children are dying at some sort of astronomical rate. Kids have not been locked away from their friends. People do live in neighborhoods. People do kids have been around. They've been around the adults. They've been here through all the different spikes as we closed up areas and had parents all staying together with their kids. And the kids still, there's obviously more kids than parents in a standard household. Okay. So for the most part, you have more kids than parents. That's undebatable. That's not an opinion. That is a fact. And so when you close down people, when people were socially distancing, these kids were around the same thing that made the spikes happen in the other families. So can we please start being honest? Okay. Football players, okay, college football players, let's include them, okay, all the way through college football players. From the time that you actually, this is probably including a year or two after you graduate college, but you graduate college from the time that you went to elementary school to graduate college, there's been 265 cases or deaths, 265 deaths out of 1.6 over 1.652382 to be exact, so that they do not block this video from going out to people. Okay, this is the truth. Please share this. Okay, that's how many people. We're shutting down college football because 300 people. Which again, let's look at pneumonia. Okay, let's look at pneumonia. 340, 400, almost 500, way more. Okay, more people dying from pneumonia, more people dying from the flu. Okay, and we've never shut down college football. So please tell me how this makes any sense. Okay, we're supposed to be being honest. Okay, let's go to King Truth's point number 2. Okay, we'll just take all that as point number 1. Okay, so in no way, shape, or form, even if you include 25 to 34-year-olds, there's no way you're looking at 1,300 deaths out of over 1.5 million, which for those math heads out there that aren't very good at that, that's about 1/10 of 1%. Okay, it's actually closer to 1/100th of a percent, to be honest. If you just move the decimal point 1, 2 spots, that would be the hundreds, that would be the thousands, and it's been less than that number. So it's less than 1,000th. Okay. It's such a small number of deaths. It really is. And again, much smaller than pneumonia and the flu. So this is not, so don't get me on, well, if we can save one life, I'm all down for saving as many lives as possible. But you guys never said this when it had anything to do with pneumonia or the flu. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at another thing that I find interesting. Okay. And I've gone over this before. I'm not sure if people aren't listening. Okay, let's look at something. Georgia. This is Georgia. Now I live in Georgia right now, and I'm from Maryland. I have a friend that I talk to about this stuff that's from Wisconsin and Arkansas. So those are the 4 states that I'm going to talk about today. Now I have my brother and my sister. I don't want to give too much of my information away, but I got a family, okay, that lives in Arkansas, and I have. So that's where most of my family is, I would say, outside of my kids and stuff. So I wanted to bring them up. I did not cherry pick these because they have numbers that agree with me. That is not the case. I am from Maryland. I live in Georgia. Most of my family's in Arkansas. I could have done Florida as well. But, and the person I talk to about most on this topic is from Wisconsin. So let me go ahead and show you something, okay? In Georgia, we shut down April 1st. Now, this is cases. We'll do cases first. We shut down on April 1st. Okay, now, as I've talked about this before, they say that you actually start having symptoms 3 days, okay, after you get it. That is according to the CDC, WHO. This is kind of a known thing. I don't have that link, but clearly you can Google that. It'll come up. I've heard it from many doctors. I had COVID. That's what they told me. Okay. So let's say that that's true. Then that means that people on April 2nd, 3rd, and 4th all had it before we went into shutdown. Okay. So let's just go ahead and look at April 4th. I have not looked at these numbers before exactly. So 545 was the 3-day, and actually we should do 7-day moving average. It makes it a little bit more accurate. At that point, okay, so let's go to 4, be 562. See, it even raised the number for you. So 562. Okay, we were shut down until started our reopening, okay, on April 24th. Okay, do you see something here? They shut down, right? They shut down. The number went up. Does everybody see that? They shut down 5:39. Okay. Then all of a sudden, by the 12th, it's at 8:30. Okay. It's at 8:30. Then we're still in shutdown. We're still in shutdown. We're still in shutdown. We stop the shutdown. Okay. We stop the shutdown and we start reopening things. Okay. We stop the shutdown on April 24th. Okay. Which happened to be a day that it just dropped down, right? We're going to give that same 3-day buffer that we talked about before. So that would be the 27th. Okay. So it's at 689. Okay. So just for the record, the 689 was higher than we went into it at the 562. Okay. So it went up while we were locked down. Okay. Then they're trying to say things like Georgia reopened and there was a second spike. What? There was a second spike that took 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Oh, this spike right here that had happened almost 7 weeks after we reopened, that's the spike you're talking about? That was because we reopened? Were we supposed to stay shut down till June 20th? From April 1st to June 20th. That's how long we were supposed to stay locked down? Then we would have stopped this? Even though when we locked down last time, there was a bump? So now you're doing this and you say you want to lock down again? What? It doesn't even make any sense. Sorry, guys. It didn't stay dormant for 3 to 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks and then spike up. It spiked up because as it got warm, more people came down to visit Georgia. I mean, I guess I'm speculating there, but it certainly didn't bump because we reopened. At no point here do you see a bump. You just don't see it. It doesn't exist. It isn't here. Now, maybe Georgia's by itself. So let's go ahead and look at Maryland. Okay. Here's Maryland's cases. Again, let's go ahead and go to the 7-day average so that the numbers are clear. All right. Let's go ahead and go, when did Maryland shut down? All right. Maryland shut down on March 23rd. Okay, we shut down on March 23rd. Now remember, at this point, at the 35 cases of people getting it per day, we felt like that was important enough to shut down. Now let's give the same 3-day buffer that we gave it because certainly people didn't get it the first 3 days after. Okay. So that put it at 68. Okay. So people went into their house. There were 68 cases a day. And what happened? I'm sorry. What happened? This is slowing it down? Really? This is slowing it down? And then it carried on and carried on and carried on. And then eventually on June 10th, they ended up opening. Okay, let's give them the same 3 days. 13th. Okay, so again, from June 13th, it went down. So here's where it starts back up, July 11th. Now, I can't find anywhere. I cannot find anywhere where it says that this thing lies dormant for a month. Nowhere. Nowhere have I heard even a doctor say that. Nobody. If anybody can, please comment, send the link that actually shows that somehow it bumps. So this starts rising again. And then they blame it on the reopening that happened back here. Sorry, that's not how it works. You reopened, and then there was a bump in cases a month after you reopened, a month later. Like, it's not like people all of a sudden slowly started matriculating. When they opened, people that could work went back to work. Okay, then there's this little bump right here. So let's go ahead and let's look at the death numbers, because death numbers matter too. So let's go ahead and we're going to do the same thing, looking at the 7-day average. Okay, let's look at, so the jump in people, like I said, in Maryland, okay, we shut down on March 23rd, okay, when we were averaging no deaths, okay. We reopened on June 10th, okay. Look at all the deaths in here, all right, look at all the deaths in here. Why they shut down, all the deaths in here. Oh, okay, and then you've seen no spike in deaths. Sorry, Maryland, 0 spikes in death. So is it possible that these cases are from more testing, better testing, more people getting nervous about it and getting tested? Because the deaths, there has been no bump. There has been no bump. Here it is. Here it is, Maryland. Maryland's dumbass governor is literally, and people are sharing this stuff. And they're talking about in Maryland, should we shut down again? What, Sway? Look at the death numbers. What are you talking about? I could go back to the other screen that I showed you initially and show you that in Maryland, okay, guess who the same people dying were? The older people, okay? And look at these numbers. 11, 10, 9, and you want to bet that just as many, if not more people, I mean, and again, we ain't got nothing but time. Let's see if we can even, here we go. Let's go to descending, and let's see if we can go to, actually probably come up faster going ascending. Wonder if there's a way we can, yep. Let's go ahead. I was going to try to find Maryland in here, but I am willing to bet so that as we look at this, what you'll find is that the people who are dying, okay, there's more people are probably dying of pneumonia and the flu in your normal age range. Okay, not in your very old people, but in your most, especially, and again, especially people under the age of 65. Okay, so here we go. Here's your Maryland numbers right here. So let's go ahead and look at our Maryland numbers. Okay, all ages, we had 1,947. Okay, these are just males. Let me see if they have, I want to see if it has total. No, but just as male or female. Well, we have all of them. There we go. All ages. All right. All's 38. Let's look at this. Okay. Under 65. We have almost the same amount for pneumonia between 55s. Under 55, pretty close to the same numbers. COVID, up a hair more for the females. Let's go ahead and look at, and so, hey, look, I mean, it says what it says. So let's look. The numbers are 22 COVID deaths, 18 pneumonia deaths. Okay. 72 COVID deaths, 61 pneumonia deaths. So COVID is affecting women, and that's 54 and 35. There's actually been, looks like, no COVID deaths for the younger age group. And there's been no one in Maryland that's died under 1 to 4, or 5 to 14, 0 COVID deaths. Yeah, they're talking about not having people go to school. Maryland, you have to, my kids that go to school in Maryland, they are working from home, even though there's been 0 deaths under the age of 14 in Maryland. Let that sink in for a minute. 0 deaths in elementary school, middle school children, and yet they can't go to school. 0 is astonishing to me. Now, some of these numbers, I'm actually starting to worry about these numbers now in terms of being what Maryland has turned in, because it says 20 total deaths, but doesn't define what they are. But here's what I was trying to show. Again, COVID deaths, 27, pneumonia, 21, pneumonia, 12. So COVID is a little bit, maybe, I don't know what the percentage is there, 5 over the course of 20. So 5% or 20% higher, maybe 15% higher from 21, 6 extra people. But these numbers are not drastically apart. If you take the pneumonia, that's pneumonia and COVID combined. How the heck pneumonia? How can the pneumonia deaths and COVID deaths be different than the? See, this is the type of stuff like this. Again, is the CDC, right? The CDC. Oh, that must be total. But again, the numbers very similar, and it's very small. I mean, this is a state with 6 million people. 6 million people, and you have 80 men under the age of 45 that have died. 88 men. Okay, out of 6 million people that are in the state. So I mean, the numbers are just really low. Let's go to Wisconsin. Okay, Wisconsin. Here's your moving average. Okay, notice how the cases are going up. Okay, then you look at the death toll. It's 2 to 3 people. I mean, 6, 5, 7, 8, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, this state was going to shut down. Like, looks like they're fine. All right, Arkansas. Let's look at theirs. Now, remember, Arkansas was one of the states that did not have a mandatory shutdown. Okay? But it was back here when people started to follow the instructions in terms of, again, not mandatory, but people shutting down. It still goes up. Let's look at their death count. Their death count, 9 people, 12 people. I mean, every life, of course it matters. I'm not trying to be flippant about people passing away. What I'm saying is we're going to shut down an entire society. People talk about, let me do one more for you. Here's the thing. People are talking about, and this is Biden specifically. Biden just came out the other day and tried to say that we should have a nationwide shutdown. A nationwide shutdown. Let's look at the 7-day moving average of New York. Why in the heck would this place shut down? Okay? Why would this shut down? And why would a state, because even though New York's at such big numbers, this is still 700 people a day, right? They were just at one point, they were at 10,000 a day. What do we think shutting down here is going to do? This was the last time they shut down. All this happened then. Their shutdown was when all this happened. So we're going to shut that down now. We could make the argument, oh, well, it was going to get way worse. But we don't know that. We don't know that. I mean, look at the death tolls here. Sorry, that was cases per day in New York. My bad when I said 700. This is the deaths. Okay, you're going to shut down New York? What? What? You had 900 deaths a day, 1,000 deaths a day. You're at 9 deaths a day. That's probably the amount of people that are getting shot in the street in New York right now. Like, we've got to start looking at the numbers. Like, obviously, this looks like it's reached. I think you can be pretty confident in saying that there's not going to be another spike here. We haven't seen any kind of spike in their cases. We haven't seen, there were so many people that got it and got over it. The odds of this spiking is very low. If you can find me an article that disagrees with that, please put it in here and let's see the data. I want truth. I want stats. But this stuff is just ridiculous. Okay? It's just ridiculous. It's going towards the looking at the state numbers, the ages, it just doesn't make sense. I don't know. I mean, I just was listening to an article just the other day, and all it kept talking about was how you just can't possibly not be paying attention to this. You can't possibly not wear a mask. You can't. It's like, what? Like, in Arkansas, you're going to have, you have 8 people dying a day there. And out of, what is there? Well, let's do Wisconsin. I think, or Arkansas's got 3 million people. So 3 million people, you have 9 people dying, 8 people dying, per day. You have something that certainly is killing people, right? I don't want people to die, but you better come up with ways, because I have not seen any kind of, again, the numbers go from 12 to 4. There's been nothing there that looks like we should shut down every business in America, or that we should mandatory make, like, why is the same person who lives in Arkansas got to wear a mask when you go to a state like, let's go to, one of the ones that's having a boost right now, right? We go to new cases. Okay, go to yesterday, new cases. In California, California, if their governor wants to set one, then sure, man, you got 12,000 cases in a day, 12,000 cases in a day. You've got people dying. Let's go ahead and look at the average is 140, which again is still way, way, way lower than New York. Look at this. They did flatten the curve. There is no jump here. Okay, it looks like a jump because the graph, it goes from 131, from 55 to 141. Okay, which yes is not great, but again, when you look at New York, New Jersey, ones who had real, look at this spike. This spike went from 400 cases to 4,000 cases, and their death rate, was 200, 300 a day in a much, much smaller state. You go to New York, okay, you go to New York and you look at their death rates, or their death tolls, 1,000 a day. Look how quick that went up there. Boom, shot up, 900, and then shot down. And that, oh, sorry, you guys can't see it. I didn't put it back up on the board, but here we go. Look at that. Look at that spike. That spike is at 1,000 deaths a day. That's what that line right there is, 1,000 deaths a day. So all I'm asking people to do is just look at the numbers. Every life does matter, okay? It does. But specifically, if we're talking about kids, that is a no-brainer. They should be back in school or have the opportunity. If you don't want your kids to go back to school, don't send them back. It is your right as a parent, but the fact that we're going to stop sports and that kind of stuff, like that is ridiculous. I don't know where people are getting their stats from, and I wish, because these are, all information. This is Worldometer, okay? The other site was CDC. That's where it tracks all the information. So let's have a real discussion. Hopefully they won't shut this down. I encourage people share, subscribe, check it out. That's all I got for you today. Everybody have a great day, and look forward to dropping truth to you in the future. King Truth, I'm out.